if I've read everything about mentoring and I'm totally buying into it, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready, I want to do that. I know a lot of people who get to that point, and then the big thing is, well, now what? I can't like put a want ad out in the paper, right, saying wanted lawyer mentor, please have these characteristics. And particularly, I know folks who they don't like necessarily going out and socializing cold with people in general, let alone coming up and saying, hi, how are you? Will you be my mentor? So once I decide I want a mentor, what do I do?
Well, the first thing you do probably is get out from behind your desk and your computer and go out and meet some people. And that's probably the hardest part of all for a lot of lawyers, like you say. It is scary. It's a funny thing. Everybody assumes that lawyers are so outgoing and extroverted that they're happy going to parties, they're in court all the time, and, on kind of performing and all of that. And in reality, most lawyers are introverts. And the idea of walking into a room full of strangers or even a room full of people can be exhausting and terrifying. It's hard for those of us who are extroverts sometimes to realize that this is not an easy thing. I love walking into rooms full of strangers because I figure, what's the worst that can happen? They don't know me, and so it can be fun for me. I'm an outlier. Most people would never want to be in that position, and I recognize that. So, for everybody else, what do? You still, if we're talking about a relationship, you have to have somebody on the other side. You don't find that by not engaging with other people. So you have to be someplace where other people are. Now, in programs like the Washington State Bar program, you can go online and use the links and find somebody remotely. So, the initial step is very easy because the people in the database have volunteered. So they're already waiting for someone to call, and that makes it really very simple. I go there, I find you, I call, and I say, I found you through this system. Let's talk, because we have to talk. We have to have a relationship. We have to know each other, or it isn't going to happen. So you have that immediate entree into a mentoring relationship. And so I would encourage anybody who is scared to death of meeting new people and getting out to use that. But even then, if there's a way to meet in person, it's less threatening because you've already met, remotely, virtually, or by phone. And it's also less frightening because it's just one-on-one. And so it should not be that uncomfortable. But if you decide you want to just go test the waters and see where people are, you need to build a network. You need to be able to find people who might be good candidates. And the State Bar, again, has mixers and supports other local bar groups that might be places where you can go to meet people and to start conversations. And everybody's there for the same reason. So you don't have to feel uncomfortable. Everybody is focused on finding someone for the relationship. So this couldn't be easier in terms of at least meeting potential mentors. Now, outside of a place that is set up specifically for that purpose, you could, I suppose, walk up to people on the street, and say, what you do seems to be interesting. I saw you in court the other day. Can I shadow you and will you be my mentor? Most people are going to go, oh my God, no, stay away. I don't want this lifetime all-consuming responsibility for your career. So that's kind of a tough approach, but it's worked. I mean, I got a call one time, I do this all the time, but not to strangers. I got a call one time from someone in Australia who said, I am in desperate need of a mentor, and I don't know anybody here who can help me. And I thought, is this person a nutcase? Or is this person really, in need? And I was curious enough that I spoke with her for a while. She was in a situation that I had dealt with throughout my career. Every woman I knew had dealt with it, but she didn't have a lot of support in her firm or in the community for it. So I worked with her. And we did that by phone, by email, and this is quite a long time ago. But we maintained a relationship, and when I went to Australia, she introduced me to, we met in person, and she introduced me to a couple of people who were really very pivotal in helping me. But, I recognize that's also not the usual situation. But I have people ask me all the time, how do you do this? Or would you mind if I call you from time to time and ask you some questions? If you want someone to help you in a particular way, by asking them, first you have to know them, you have to meet them, they have to have some basis for a relationship. How do you form that? You might say, you're interested in that bar program. I'd love to help you with that if there's something I can do. You're interested in this pro bono project. I'd love to, would you mind if I went with you to a couple of meetings, or is there something I can do, or can you just tell me how you got into it? You start a relationship by asking somebody about the things you have in common. If you don't know anything that you have in common, you haven't prepared well. You have to have something to make that initial connection. And then by explaining, you're the world's best negotiator. I would love to be a better negotiator, and I'd love it if you could give me a few pointers from time to time. Would that be okay? If I let you know, it's not going to take you hours on end or days or years. If I let you know a specific thing I'm interested in, if I let you know that I admire you and I think you have something to offer me, and at the same time, try to come up with something you can offer, then most people, and it might be simply, by the way, just being an eager listener or someone who really wants to excel, and a lot of people will take pride in helping you. Finding something to get it started, then you can take it more deeper and deeper if it seems natural and seems likely to go that way. But finding a way to get it started is not that hard, but you do have to make the effort.
Yeah, hearing you talk, I think there are two things that strike me. One is the power of just saying to someone, I'd like to learn a little bit more about what you do. Would you have 15 minutes? And I think that's a much smaller ask than will you be my mentor for life? So, and it also lets you off the hook to a certain degree because, quite frankly, I might get talking with you and I think, wow, I don't want a mentoring relationship. Then I have to figure out how to back out of that. Then everything's complicated. But being able to just say, could we go to coffee and talk for 30 minutes about what you do? Because I think it's really interesting, and I think it's maybe something I want to do. Is an easy in, or on the phone, or whatever. The other thing that I really encourage people to do is set some goals for networking, and whether that's I'm going to reach out and have coffee with one person a month or a week or a decade, not a decade, that's probably a little too long, yeah. But whatever it is to get serious about that as a task. Set yourself some measurable goals, but don't let perfect be the enemy of good. If you can connect with someone that can help you with a few things, that's better early on than waiting for that perfect mentor that's everything that you think they ought to be, which you really can't tell in the minute that you meet them anyway. So,
and I'll conclude this by just saying you never even have to use the word mentor.
Absolutely.
Find what you want, what you need, what your goal is, and work around that.